Now, a piecewise function is a function in which more than one formula is used to define the output. Each formula has its own domain, and the domain of the function is the union of all these smaller domains. So we notate this idea like this. We have a function f of x that has some formulas. It could have 2, it could have 3, it could have more. Formula 1, if x is in the domain of that 1. Formula 2, if x is in the domain of that 2. And formula 3, if x is in the domain of 3. So in piecewise notation, the absolute value function would be the following. If I have the absolute value of x, it's going to equal positive x if x is greater than or equal to 0. So it's positive when it's 0 or greater. And absolute value of x is going to equal negative x when the value of x is going to be less than 0, meaning all the negative numbers. So given a piecewise function, we want to write the formula and identify the domain for each interval. Number 1, we're going to identify the intervals for which different rules apply. Number 2, determine formulas that describe how to calculate an output from an input in each interval. And number 3, we're going to use braces and if statements to write the function. Now for example 11, we're writing a piecewise function. So we know that a museum charges $5 per person for a guided tour with a group of 1 to 9 people for a fixed $50 fee for a group of 10 or more people. We want to write a function relating the number of people n to the cost c. So we're going to have two different formulas that will be needed. For the n values that are going to be under 10, that means we're going to take c and multiply 5 times n, because that would charge $5 per person when the tour group is within 1 to 9 people. So that means that we know that we have 5n if the number of people are between 0 and 10, but we can't include 0 and we can't include 10 because it goes from 1 to 9 people. So that's how we would write the first piece. Now, for values of n that are 10 or greater, it's saying that it's a $50 fee for a group. So it's $50 if the value of n is greater than or equal to 10. So that's how we're writing the piecewise function. Now, an analysis of the function is represented in this figure. The graph is diagonal from n equals 0 to n is equal to 10. So you can see here that this is between 1 and 9. So that's why it's diagonal. And then a constant after that because it is going to cost $50 regardless of how many people are after that. So in this example, the two formulas agree at the meeting point where n is equal to 10, but not all piecewise functions have this particular property.